Hey boys and girls, my name is Tiffany. I am a graduate of Ypsilanti High School, and also I went to Fletcher Elementary School. I work a full-time job, but I also own a business, a couple businesses actually. Um, the one business is called That's Our Jam. We make jam, kind of like the jam that you put on your bread in the morning when you have toast for breakfast. We make jam, all kinds of jam. Um, I am someone's mother. I have two kids that are not kids anymore, they're adults. And I have two grandbabies and a host of nieces and nephews that I love. I am also engaged to be married. Uh, that's a lot of work, guys. That's a lot of work. Um, I live here in Ypsi, but I have lived a few other places. When my daughter was in the 12th grade and my son was in the 10th grade, I packed up my daughter and we moved to Alabama. She was not very happy. I needed to move. Did you see that? I moved to Alabama because a lot of times what happens is that the place that you grow up, you think that's the only place you can ever go. And I wanted her to know that the world is a big place and that where you start is not necessarily where you have to finish. I wanted her to go on an adventure with me. Life is one great big adventure, and I encourage you to get out and see as much of this great big world as possible. Um, the places that you see on TV are places that you can go. Get out and go, okay? So anyway, today we're going to read a book. It's called The Very Last Castle. The words are by Travis Jonker, and the pictures are by Mark Pett. These boots this baby got on. You can tell she's going on an adventure. Like the adventure we just talked about, she's going on an adventure. The Very Last Castle, words by Travis Jonker, pictures by Mark Pett. In the middle of a small town stood something you might not expect. A castle. In fact, it was the very last castle. There had been others, but over time they had all been taken down or fallen apart or been destroyed. All but one. For reasons no one could remember, no one ever came out, and no one was allowed in. See the castle? Up in the tower, the guard watched the townspeople silently pass by. Then there was Ib. Every day she walked past the castle all alone. Every day she stopped. She looked up. She saw the lone guard standing stone still. Plunk. Looks like she threw something in the water, huh? Since no one had been inside the castle, the townspeople had ideas about who or what was in there. Snap, snap, snap. Monsters, said Miss Wicks. Miss Wicks assumed that there were monsters that lived in that castle. Thud, thud, thud. Giants, said Alex. Alex assumed that there were giants in that castle. Here's the castle. Now it's snowing outside. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Snake. Snakes, said Ib's grandfather. Ib's grandfather thinks that there's snakes that live in that castle. A whole castle full of snakes, huh? Maybe it's something terrible, Ib thought one day, and maybe it's something else. Plunk. Another rock into the pond. The next morning, Ib walked past the castle. She stopped and looked up at the tower. No guard. Ib had an idea. She floated across the moat, walked up to the door, and with all the strength she had, knock, knock, knocked. That's a mighty big door, isn't it? Hiss. All of those snakes. I would have taken off running too. I don't do snakes. Ib didn't stop running until she was sitting at her desk at school, scared and out of breath. Maybe Grandpa was right. She didn't tell anyone what happened. Not long after, an envelope arrived. Inside was an invitation. Your presence is requested at the front gate of the castle on Sunday at noon. Uh-oh. Everyone told Ib to stay away. Monsters, said Miss Wicks. Giants, said Alex. Snakes, said her grandpa. Maybe it's something terrible, Ib thought. Could it be something else? This Ib is thinking for herself. She's not believing anything somebody is telling her. She's letting that mind go to work. On Sunday, Ib stood all alone outside the front gate. With a loud thunk, the drawbridge began to lower. She trembled. She looked up at the tower, empty. She took a deep breath. Slowly, Ib did something none of the townspeople had ever done. She walked inside. What do you guys think is in there? It turned out Miss Wicks and Alex had been right. There were monsters, and there were giants, but no snakes. Welcome, came a voice, a kind voice. It was the guard. I'm the last one. I'm sorry. He removed his helmet. He was much older than Ib had expected. I'm the last one left. May I show you around? For the rest of the day, Ib and the guard, his name was William, visited every corner of the castle. Before long, they were pruning near the great hall. Snap, 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 and harvesting by the palace. Thud, thud, thud. When I grew up, we had an apple tree in our yard. We used to go out and pick apples too. They ended up where they started. Why now, said Ib. All the castles are gone, answered William. Someday, I will be too. I want someone brave to take my place. Someone curious. Will you help me? Ib thought about William all on his own. She thought about her family and friends outside the castle. She thought, and then she knew. Yes, Ib required, but I have a request. I wonder what she's going to ask him. Maybe she's a curious little something. In the middle of a small town stood the very last castle. Sometimes someone came out. And everyone was welcome in. Hiss, as they watered the plants. The end. Oh my gosh, look over there.